In 1933, Joseph Goebbels, a German Nazi politician who was the Minister of Propaganda for the Nazi Party, invited the German film director Fritz Lang to his office. At the time, Lang was one of the most celebrated film directors in Germany, whose last film Metropolis, a highly influential sci-fi drama about a dystopian world and class divide, was just released. It was the first ever feature-length film of the genre. Back then, it was viewed by many as a film pushing the communist agenda. Fritz Lang knew that a pro-Nazi message had sneaked in, without much conscious thought, mainly because of his scriptwriter wife, Thea Vaughan. He himself rejected the film and its communist angle many years later. Joseph Goebbels, who had loved Metropolis, had a straightforward proposition for Lang, about which Lang discussed in detail in an interview with the American director William Friedkin.
And he spoke, and suddenly he said, "The Führer has seen your films."
Führer in general means leader, but as a political title, it was associated with the Nazi leader Adolf Hitler.
He didn't say which one. And then he said, and he has said, this is the man who will give us the National Socialistic film. In this moment, to tell you the truth, I was wet all over my body. Perspiration broke out everything. I looked out of the window, and there was, I don't know how you say it in English, you know, a big post.
Yes.
Like you have it here with lamps on. And there was a 3-side clock.
Yes.
And you could watch the clock. And I said, how do I get out of here?
The Nazis wanted Fritz Lang to make a nationalist socialist film and perhaps take over the state's film production unit. As Lang tells it, he came home that day and packed for a short trip to Paris, never to return to Germany till the late 1950s. By then, he had become a well-known director in the US and was known as the father of special effects. The Nazis moved on to other directors, primarily actress-director Leni Riefenstahl, who was a great admirer of Hitler, and went on to make many films, including the controversial artful masterwork Triumph of the Will. It was a cunning work of propaganda showing German Chancellor and the Nazi party leader Adolf Hitler at the 1934 Nuremberg rally, and is considered as one of the greatest propaganda films of all time. It was one of the first films to include low-angle shots. Director Riefenstahl specially used those shots to make Hitler look like a majestic figure. Hitler praised the film, saying, "It's an incomparable glorification of the power and beauty of our movement." The second draconian North Korean leader, Kim Jong-il, was also a huge producer who made highly influential heavy-handed state films for his father, the founder and first leader of North Korea. Kim Jong-il was so intense about movies that he even kidnapped a very popular South Korean actress and her director husband in 1978 and forced them to make 17 films for him.
He keeps them imprisoned without seeing one another for 5 to 6 years until their resolve is essentially broken. And then he brings them back together. He announces publicly that they've happily joined the Democratic People's Republic of Korea.
Over the next 3 years, Shin and Che produced 17 films under Kim Jong-il's watchful eye.
There has been an unspoken relationship between cinema and the politics of a nation. Cinema is easily one of the most effective mediums to influence the majority of audiences. In this video essay, we will try to understand the same. To see the impact political films can make on general population in today's time, let's go through a recent study conducted by Dr. C Pautz, an Associate Professor of Political Science at the University of Dayton. Dr. Pautz focus grouped undergraduates at a college in the United States to fill out a questionnaire regarding their views on the US government before and after watching the movies Argo and Zero Dark 30, both of which are focused on terrorism and the government's response to it. Interestingly, she found that after watching the films, 20 to 25% of the participants changed their opinion, and generally more favorably, on a variety of questions about the government. Their trust in government increased, as did their general optimism about the direction of the country. Before the screening of these films, 48% of participants had the opinion of the government going in the wrong direction. But post the screening, this number dropped to 34%, which means 25% of the participants' views were changed after watching just 2 movies. Dr. C Pautz wrote in a study, a central component of this research is determining if there is any change in the opinions of viewers before and after watching either film. Overall, between a fifth and a quarter of the film audience in this study changed their opinions after watching any one film. Now, this may not appear to be a significant change, but consider for a moment how watching one film for a couple of hours resulted in a change of opinions of some viewers. Imagine how powerful a series of films can be to change one's views and opinions. Now, the point of going through this research was to understand how political films are being released and received in India lately. The last Indian general election was on 19th April 2019, and 2 huge political Bollywood films were released at the beginning of that same year, and one even on the day of elections. The first one was Uri, one of the highest grossing Bollywood films of 2019, which was based on the surgical strike carried out by the ruling government in 2016, and the movie was released 3 months prior to the general elections, which sparked a wave of jingoism across the country. Its popular catchphrase was uttered by Prime Minister Narendra Modi himself.
आप सबसे एक सवाल है क्योंकि इसमें काफी सभी पीढ़ियां हैं इसमें, पुरानी पीढ़ी के लोग भी हैं और बिल्कुल नई पीढ़ी के लोग भी हैं. How is the Josh?
And many other senior ministers of India, including Nirmala Sitharaman, then the defense minister of the country, who also went on to a screening of the movie and shouted the slogan in the movie theatre itself. The movie was exempted from goods and service tax by the Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister, a state ruled by, again, the BJP party. This is the same state which has a ruling that filmmakers will have to submit their film scripts in order to get approval to shoot the film in their state. This can result in multiple scrutinies of the script and force filmmakers to edit the story according to the authorities' convenience, clearly killing the artistic independence of filmmakers. The second movie released on that day was The Accidental Prime Minister, which is based on the previous Prime Minister of India and the Indian National Congress Party, who were in power from 2004 to 2014 before the current government took command. This movie again allegedly had a certain tone and a narrative to attack PM Modi's political enemies, the Congress Party. The film's trailer was shared by BJP party's official Twitter account, encouraging people to watch the film. I don't think we have seen a political party sharing a movie's trailer before. Film's protagonist was played by actor Anupam Kher, who, other than being a wonderful actor, has been a vocal supporter of the BJP, and his wife being a member of parliament from the same party. Now I can go on and on about drawing connections between the people involved in the film and its political allies, but let's not get carried away here. Time magazine journalist Abhishant Kidangur wrote in his article about these movies and pointed out that experts say such films can play a role in changing public perception among India's large number of illiterate adults who are voracious consumers of television and movies. Well, I wouldn't say only illiterates. Many of our friends who are well educated still find these movies fascinating and let themselves be influenced, exactly as Dr. Michel's experiment pointed out earlier. If we take a look at the history, there have been times in our country when the ruling political party has banned movies that try to draw parallels in a way they don't appreciate. But perhaps this is the first time when movies are being promoted and shown with the support of the ruling political party and being released right before elections which satisfy their narrative.
को लगता है कि कुछ ऐसी भी चीज़ें हैं जो वो और अच्छी कर सकते थे, नहीं कर पाए. If you have to criticize Narendra Modi's tenure,
I will
कोई भी
not
गलत फैसला नहीं
criticize.
हुआ.
This film, and there is a debate. There is a debate to a certain extent on this film.
There is no debate.
But
there is no debate.
point
You are
is-
creating debate. There is no debate. I don't want this audience to get confused that there is a debate because there is no debate.
Moreover, according to a draft of the new Cinematographers Bill 2021, moving forward, the central government can have the power to ask Central Board of Film Certification to review the permission given to a film for public exhibition if it feels its content is against the interests of the sovereignty and integrity of India. Now my question is, how do you classify what is in the best interest of the country? Whether a movie that is being critical of the current government is in the best interest of the country or against it? Because as things are going, we are not far away from the day when movies promoting a particular side are all they will be left. Fritz Lang, in his interview, said that he had expected to be pulled up for showing a criminal character in Metropolis who makes anti-Nazi comments. But instead, Goebbels told him that their Führer, Adolf Hitler, had liked the film. Nazis were smart to figure out that instead of banning outspoken filmmakers, it's better if they use them to spread their message. Lang in the service of the Third Reich would have been ideal, but he chose to get out of the country. The Nazis were quick to harness the power of cinema as a mass medium and installed an infrastructure to serve their purpose. They enforced censorship laws, set up a bank to sponsor films, and ultimately nationalized the German film industry by buying up all the studios, leaving a legacy epitomized by the chilling imagery of Leni Riefenstahl's Triumph of the Will. Only time will tell how the mainstream Indian film industry handles these challenges, like few of the independent filmmakers have been handling, or maybe they would take the easier path and comply with those in power. In retrospect, Leni Riefenstahl did not do anything illegal per se at the time. She just made movies. But it was the idea and cause those people were working towards which was foul. In times like these, we have got to judge people by their intention, not interpretation. So don't be surprised if before the next general elections in India in 2024, you see a sudden increase in jingoistic films having a certain narrative melting into the saffron scenery.